She gives birth while fighting not to drown and has to save her older-born son at the same time. All starts somewhere in the Central American jungle. A tapir runs intensely through the forest before it springs a wire trap and impales on a swinging branch full of spikes. Young Jaguar Paw puts the tapir out of its misery and divides its internal organs between his fellow hunters, Curl Nose, Smoke Frog, and Cocoa Leaf, weird names. And Blunted receives the tapir's testicle as of a joke, since he and his wife have yet to have any children, and he doesn't like the joke. Flint Sky calms him down and offers him some remedies or kind of medicine to use when intimate with his wife. They are soon interrupted by a band of refugees passing through the forest, looking downtrodden. One of them, a fisherman, addresses Jaguar Paw and explains that their village was attacked and they are seeking a new beginning. They exchange food before the group moves on. Jaguar Paw is keen to know more about what happened. His father silences him and they return to the village. Just before they get back, Flint Sky explains to his son that the refugees were infected by fear, and fear is a kind of sickness, and that it should not be brought to the village. Jaguar Paw goes to his wife and admires his small son, Turtle's Run, and other son as they call, on the way. Blunted returns to his wife, whose mother impatiently tells him to hurry and give her grandchild, now that he has the cure, but moments after entering their hut, Blunted runs out screaming and holding his privates before sitting himself in the water, and his wife is washing her mouth. But why her mouth? No surprise why he can't have kids. Flint Sky falls to the ground, laughing, as the leaves he gave Blunted were meant to cause a burning sensation when dropped. Blunted yells at him but starts laughing with everyone else. That night, an old storyteller tells how man once received gifts from forest until the forest had nothing left to give, and man never felt happiness. Greedy. That's the point he is trying to make. The villagers begin to play music and dance. Jaguar Paw's mind is distracted until 7 brings him back. The following morning, Jaguar Paw wakes early from a dream and notices fire torches quickly approaching the village. Warriors appear, igniting huts and capturing the villagers. Jaguar Paw takes his wife and son and puts them in a deep cistern to hide. He ties her up to a nearby rock so that they can climb out again before running back to the village to help, killing a raider along the way. However, the village is soon overrun. Blunted is held down while his wife is forced into a hut where she is presumably raped and killed. Jaguar Paw attempts to free his father but is knocked down by a raider. Middelai, a raider nearly killed by Jaguar Paw, nicknames him Almost. Flint Sky tells his son not to be afraid as Middelai slits his throat. All the surviving captives are tied up and led away, attached to each other on a long poles, while the children of the village are left with none but the dead for company. One of them notices Jaguar Paw looking towards the cistern. He investigates but does not notice 7 and Turtle's Run. However, he is suspicious of the rope dangling into the hole and cuts it. The first-looking leader of the Hulkanes, Zero Wolf, reunites with his son, Kotrock, who has suffered a bruising blow to the head, swelling his right eye shut. Zero Wolf cuts lines into his brew to release the pressure of blood, allowing his son to see again. The party meets up with the second raiding group, which has caught the band of refugees seen the day before. Jaguar Paw recognizes the fisherman as the two groups are led further into forest, followed by the children of the two clans. As they cross a raging river, the children are halted by the water. The eldest girl cries out that the children are hers now and she will take care of them. Pretty brave. That night as they camp, Zero Wolf gives his son a large dagger which he says has killed many men. It is a symbol of Kotrock's manhood, proven by the successful raid. He is proud of him. Blunted laments and promises to take as many captors with him to hell if he does not find his wife there. The next day, while treading a narrow path on a cliff, Cocoa Leaf, severely injured in the village raid, loses his footing and dangles over the edge. Jaguar Paw and the other manage to pull him back onto the path, while Middelai watches with interest and goads them to regain the footing. He then cuts Cocoa Leaf free of his binds and shoves him over the cliffside, which Zero Wolf almost punishes him for losing one of their captives. As they are near civilization, the party crosses through a deforested area and failed maize crops where villagers lay dead. A small girl, sick and with sores on her face and hands, approaches the party, but when a Snake King forcefully pushes her away, suddenly looks towards Jaguar Paw with a blank expression. She then looks at the Snake King and prophesies their doom, warning of a man who brings dark of night and a jaguar. She says that this man is among them now. They are screwed. The party moves on as she continues to call them. They enter a city where workers toil in limestone quarries, covered white by the excess and spreading quick lime over buildings. A worker coughs blood and an old man approaches the captives, drooling and begging for help. He is kicked away by a hurricane and told to die with dignity. The women captives are separated from the men and are sold as slaves. Blunted watches as his mother-in-law is auctioned but rejected due to her age. She is free to wander and she follows Blunted as far as she can go, touching his arm shortly before closing her eyes against a pillar, helpless. The men are led through a tunnel where they see pictures on the walls depicting human sacrifices. Women paint their bodies blue as they are led to the top of a step pyramid. The heads of victims are tossed down the steps and collected in baskets at the bottom. Jaguar watches as the first captive is sacrificed, his heart ripped out and his head severed. The same fate befalls Carol Nose before Jaguar Paw is brought to the sacrificial pedestal. Seemingly accepting his fate, he waits until the high priest stops due to the solar eclipse. The priest announces to the crowd that their god is pleased and begs for the sun to come back. However, the priest and the Mayan leaders are well aware that the eclipse will eventually pass. They use the celestial events to wield power over the public and their enemies. He then tells Zero Wolf to get rid of the other captives. Jaguar Paw and the others are taken to an old ball court kind of place, where they are supposed to run the lengths in pairs towards the forest. At the end, with the cynical promise of freedom should they make it. Kotrok runs ahead to the end of the court as a finisher, and it becomes clear that the captives are to be used as target practice. Blunted and Smoke Frog are the first to run, but Blunted is speared in the lower back and Smoke Frog is hit with a large stone before being finished by Kotrok. Next, Jaguar Paw and the fisherman are told to flee. Jaguar Paw's necklace is ripped off by Middle Eye and call him almost before he runs. They evade most of the projectiles. The fisherman is shot through the head and Jaguar Paw is impaled through his side, falling near Blunted. Before Kotrok can finish him, Blunted grabs Kotrok by the leg, buying Jaguar Paw some time to run. Kotrok kills Blunted with a single blow to the head, but Jaguar Paw breaks off the arrowhead in his own body and stabs Kotrok in the neck. Kotrok stumbles as Jaguar Paw stands, removes the arrow shaft from his side, and runs into the forest. Zero Wolf runs to his son and coaxes him into eternal sleep. As his son dies in his arms, Zero Wolf takes back his dagger and puts his son's necklace into his belt before running after Jaguar Paw. The other Hurricanes follow him. Jaguar Paw runs through a corn crop and falls into a mass open grave filled with the remains of thousands of sacrificial victims. He runs across into the jungle where he climbs a tree and hides. Blood is still dripping from his wound. The Hurricanes run past beneath him. When they are gone, he returns to see a black jaguar cub growling at him. He hears a louder roar behind him and turns to see the threatening mother jaguar. Meanwhile, the Hurricanes stop realizing they have lost Jaguar Paw's trail. One of them notices blood on Middle Eye's shoulder and they backtrack, keeping their eyes to the trees. They soon see Jaguar Paw running through the forest. As their paths merge in a clearing, Speaking Wind is attacked by the jaguar that was chasing Jaguar Paw. He is viciously mauled to death before the other arrive and kill the jaguar. One of them dislikes the bad omen associated with killing the jaguar, while Snake Inn remembers the strange child prophecy and reminds him it was foretold. Zero Wolf hushes them all, eager to find and kill Jaguar Paw. The chase lasts through the night into the morning. At one point, one of them approaches a tree where blue paint with Jaguar Paw rubbed onto the tree, but he is bitten in the neck by an asp. As the Hurricanes eventually catch up to Jaguar Paw, he is cornered and forced to leap over the edge of a high waterfall. He survives and stands on the riverbank, calling out to the Hurricanes that this is his forest and his descendants will continue to hunt in it. Impatient Zero Wolf stabs Snake Inn when he suggests climbing down rather than jumping. First to jump survives, but the second dies when he hits his head on a rock. The other are luckier and continue their pursuit. As he flees, Jaguar Paw lands in a muddy sinkhole but manages to climb out. After he does so, he pauses and decides that he is not afraid and will no longer run. As the hurricanes approach, Jaguar Paw, covered in black mud, confronts them and tosses a leaf wasp's hive at them. Jaguar Paw runs towards a stream where he finds a poison frog and collects its venom on a few large thorns. He runs in a circle and hides in the reeds, waiting for the hurricanes. Meanwhile, Seven attempts to escape the cistern by tossing a stalactite to the surface with the rope attached to it. She managed to climb halfway, but the rock dislocates, causing her to fall. She is barely hurt. Her water breaks from that incident. As the hurricanes pass Jaguar Paw's hidden place, he takes a large leaf and rolls it into a bluing gun. He fires his darts at Hanging Moss, already weakened by the wasp stings. As Hanging Moss falls to the ground, his cries attract Middle Eye, who runs back. Middle Eye comes face to face with Jaguar Paw, and they run at each other, each eyeing the bludgeon that Hanging Moss dropped. Middle Eye swings his own as they get to each other, and Jaguar Paw barely manages to duck. Not totally though. He picks up Hanging Moss bludgeon and rises to strike Middle Eye in the temple. Middle Eye calls him almost one last time, as Jaguar Paw kills him with a blow under the chin. It suddenly begins to rain, and Jaguar Paw runs to the cistern, knowing that it will soon fill with water. Zero Wolf and the remaining hurricanes see Middle Eye's body and Jaguar Paw running into the forest. Enraged, Zero Wolf outruns the other two in his pursuit. Jaguar Paw gets to the cistern to find it filling with water, and his wife in labor is screaming for him to hurry. An arrow almost hits him. He runs into the jungle, and Zero Wolf closes in. The two others pause by the cistern to see Seven and Turtle runs at the bottom before resuming the chase. Jaguar Paw stops at a specific spot in the forest that he recognizes and turns to face Zero Wolf, who shoots an arrow into his shoulder. He stands, waits, and watches as Zero Wolf charges at him with his dagger drawn. Zero Wolf fails to notice a trap wire and sets off the trap, becoming impaled on its sharp spikes. He dies as Monkey Jaw and Ten Peccary arrive. They chase Jaguar Paw to the beach, where he collapses from exhaustion. When they catch up with him, they stop, staring at the sea, where a small fleet of Spanish ships is anchored. Soldiers and missionaries are rowing to the shore in small boats. Mesmerized, Monkey Jaw and Ten Peccary approach the shoreline, while Jaguar Paw races back to the cistern. He finds that Seven has just given birth and pulls his family out of the cistern. Later, when the rain stops, Jaguar Paw carries his newborn son, followed by Seven and Turtle's Run. They look back towards the Spanish ships, and Seven asks if they should go to them. Jaguar Paw says that they should go to the forest and start a new beginning.